This is Gary Atensi with CNTV, and today we're in Fort Collins, Colorado. I'm here with Kris Bell. Since 2013, she has been providing guidance for chronic pain, anxiety, and depression. Thank you so much for joining us here today, Kris. Let me ask you this. Share with me a little bit. 2013, you began doing this professionally, but quite honestly, 28 plus years, you yourself understood what chronic pain was all about. That is what led you down this path to help others. Tell us a little bit about that story.
Well, with a lot of chronic pain, and most people with chronic pain, it can start from most any source, an injury, a disease, and with me it started with disease at a very early age. So it wasn't very long before the chronic pain became disabling. So it doesn't take long before doctors begin throwing up their hands and saying, there's no more I can do for you. And that's a very frustrating state to be in, and most people who live in chronic pain find themselves in that situation. And so I saw an opportunity to help others who are also in that state, in that situation where Western medicine could no longer provide any answers, but yet knowing that we all have resources internally that we can use.
Interesting. Obviously, as folks, we're open to Western medicine. We run over to the doctor's office when something happens. But now, as a society, are we starting to be more open to the idea that basically to be able to sit down and speak with somebody about the challenges that we're going through is really beneficial, even more so today than possibly you seen back 28 years ago when you started?
Oh, definitely. Even 28 years ago, eventually I was referred to a psychologist. But it took a long time, and it took someone recognizing that the pain was not just in my body, but the pain began to be emotional and behavioral. But today, especially you will see it mostly in pain centers where they work with chronic pain on a continuing basis. They offer psychology and psychologists and therapy to help people deal with the emotional and behavioral aspects of chronic pain.
Interesting. I mean, quite honestly, at the heart of many people's challenges, we find fear. And not only we find it there, but we find fear in reaching out for others to help us. Is that fear really come about because we're looking for a safe place, an environment where we can be ourselves and kind of share what we're going through?
Yes, especially with chronic pain, I find that the majority of people I see are in fear, and they are also feeling ashamed. And shame is a very common feeling when in chronic pain. People don't like to show that vulnerability, and they'll often not let anyone else know except their closest family, and they'll often keep some family at distance.
And the one thing I notice is we sometimes open up to family members or a friend, and we feel, well, that helps us out. But quite honestly, as a family member who is not trained, pretty easy to jump to conclusions, a lot of times become judgmental. How does that differ in what you do professionally?
Well, when you become a trained psychotherapist, you literally have to learn how to keep your judgments at bay and be aware of and open to an individual's their own opening. You can't force a flower to blossom. And so the job is to invite. So you invite individuals to become comfortable over time and to open themselves up to the opportunity for change. And so it is my job to provide not only a space, but the relationship, a safe relationship where they can share that and change.
I imagine over time, much trust is developed, not only to be able to sit down and talk with someone, but also to experience emotions that possibly you've been suppressing for many years as a society. I mean, that's what we're trained, right? Keep your emotions at bay, and yet that's not always the best case.
Well, you generally have to. In your work environment, there are expectations. Our society has very, very high expectations, and a great deal of it comes from pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You should be over this by now. People in chronic pain hear those kinds of things all the time from family and friends. What do you mean you're in chronic pain? You don't look sick. And so there's a lot of misunderstanding there. But people do need a place to share, a safe place to share. And they can also use help in learning how to communicate with their family and friends and ask them to honor their situation as like I would honor them.
I imagine, like you said earlier, there's some guilt, there's some shame. We all want attention when we're going through something, but after a while it gets to a point where I don't want that attention anymore. And you start wondering, why do I think this way? Why is my brain wired like it is? You actually feel it's more than the brain. You're talking about the mind, the entire mind. Share with me what you mean by that.
Well, the mind it's more than the mind. It's actually the mind's connections with the body. As intellectuals, as human beings, we like to be in our brains a great deal.
Right.
We spend a great deal of time in our head. And so what ends up being critical is to start creating relationship with the body. And by doing so, you end up creating a relationship with the pain or anything else that you may be undergoing. So not just pain, but pleasure.
Sure.
So there are a lot of things that we ignore because we're way into our heads and we're thinking way too much. A lot of it is backing out of thinking.
Absolutely. Share with me some of the mindfulness practices that you're able to provide for folks.
Well, when we work with mindfulness, the first thing we start to do is use imagery. Guided imagery is what I call it. And guided imagery is like a guided meditation. You're invited to relax, close your eyes if you want to, and just listen and follow the directions in a guided visualization, often resulting in a lot of relaxation and hopefully some resolution of pain, even for just a little while.
Share with me what MBSR is and how that helps with stress of every day, but not only that, also in the chronic world as well.
MBSR stands for Mindfulness-Based Stress Reduction. And mindfulness-based stress reduction was created by a man by the name of Jon Kabat-Zinn. Easy to look up. You find him as an author of many things and in many programs. He created this program, and it's based on Buddhism, although they've removed the Buddhist element, so it's now secular, to use the techniques that the Buddhists have used over thousands of years to help create a relationship between body and mind, and using the power of the mind to help change the state of your being. What you think is your reality. There's the basis, and it's an oversimplification, but very, very true. What you think is your reality. So if you can make the effort to change what you think, your reality will also change.
It's exciting stuff, really. Quite honestly, everybody needs something to that degree. Obviously, as we move along, we as a society become more technologically advanced in all areas. Many times, though, it seems like we're not living life anymore, but actually being forced into this life. We're not able to make choices. Is that why you see a lot more of anxiety and depression, really, in all ages, really across the board?
Yeah, we're convinced we can't make choices, or that there are no choices, when actually there are. There are a lot of choices. Run by fear, and that's still a part of our DNA. It's part of the way we're wired. We're wired to respond to fear. Pain makes us fearful, and so we put ourselves into this high stress state.
Right.
And so the goal, really, for anybody, whether you're in chronic pain or not, is in our busy lives with the technology of our lives and the expectations that we have socially, are to be able to back out of this stress response and give our bodies a pause, a break from that. Because by using it and being in that higher state all the time, you use up way too many of your own reserves, chemicals, and body resources, and it's no wonder we wear down and break down.
Like you said, basically 28 years you experienced chronic pain yourself. Your journey led you eventually to psychotherapy, but you were kind of held at bay for many years before you jumped right in. Do you yourself wish you would have maybe got into it sooner rather than going from doctor to doctor, wondering when the cure was going to happen?
Well, I was fortunately introduced to some people who actually did a lot of alternative methods back probably in 1990. And so I was introduced to this option of, I do have choices. I have choices outside of the Western medical regime. And Western medical I still use, and it pairs beautifully with everything else that's offered. So the combination is highly effective. As for, do I wish it came about a different way? I have to say no. It did, my path is my path. And no matter what I was doing, even looking back into high school, no matter what I was doing, all of the time leading up to going to grad school, I was always doing counseling. It was always there. And no matter what I provided, I found myself counseling people. And until I woke up to the fact that that's what I was doing.
And you professionally answered that call now in 2013. Like you said, basically our thoughts are what create our reality. So are we able to really to decrease pain in our body when we've mastered the mind in such a way?
I have. So I can only really speak for myself. But other people have also experienced changes. What generally happens, and what happened for me specifically, is that the more acceptance, basically taking some guarding away, the more acceptance and relaxation I could give myself, my body, my mind, myself. The more I was able to relax, the more I'm able to relax, the less pain I'm in. So you put all those things, that together with other methods of other pain relievers, other medical methods that are out there, you can do a lot for yourself.
A very powerful combination when you combine them all.
Mm-hmm.
Viewers, take a look at the bottom of the screen right there. What you're going to see is her website. On the website, first of all, you can learn a little bit more about her journey. You can also see her formal education that she got there. Beyond the 2-year typical of what most might go through, she actually went through a different course and basically enjoyed the process of healing the whole entire body, not just the mind, not just the brain, and that is what given her great success. She's located here in Fort Collins, Colorado, and she is there to help folks, possibly like yourself, that are fearful of finding a place where you can just come in and speak with somebody without any judgments or fast conclusions. She is definitely there for you in a professional capacity. Let me ask you this, as you have gone through your journey yourself and you've also experienced other people that have gone through it, was there kind of a spiritual discovery that was made? Is that something that you kind of enjoy seeing that happen with others?
Oh, most definitely. For myself, that's very true. There has been a very significant spiritual discovery. And just by linking body and mind together, you find that you do realize you have a spiritual life, whether you decided you had one before or not. That's not to say that that's religion. Sure. Religion and spirituality are two entirely different things, and that can be combined. But I have a very spiritual nature, and most people do find their spiritual nature and trust in whatever it is, whatever they choose to see as being something that is unseen but helps.
Wonderful. Last time, viewers, take a look at the bottom of the screen. Her contact information is right there. And we're talking about a consultation that is free of charge to you. Come on in, speak with her, and she will decide if it's a great fit for you to sit down, help you with possibly some anxiety, some depression that you're going through. If you have chronic pain and you feel like you're a hot potato going from doctor to doctor, really, and it can be very frustrating. And like you said, it soon takes a turn not only physically on your body, but mentally as well. She can also help you with that. That is Kris Bell here in Fort Collins, Colorado. It's time to shine. This is Gary Atensi with CNTV. And if you don't know, now you know.